Hello, class. Well, with finals week here, I thought you could use a little bit more uplifting stuff in the beginning of the week than the end of the week, so thought I'd record the video now. And what better way to end the semester by talking about something new? In this case, a new color. So it turns out there's a color that you can only see under really certain circumstances. And I had to read this article a few times because to kind of make sense with it, and uh, and there's also some stuff that's not in the article. So let me explain it to you. So right here, here's an image taken from Wikipedia Commons, and on the y-axis is the normalized absorbance. So normalized mean brought to unity, and then the wavelength here on the x-axis. So the long wavelengths here being red light, and through the wavelength, and the short wavelengths being violet light. And although this is normalized, we see the middle, the green one, the middle one, we the best. So this is the short, green is the middle, red is the long. And then here in the dashed, the line here are your cones. I'm sorry, your rods. I'm sorry, rods. So we do different types of light sensitive cells in our eyes. We have rods and cones, and we have three different types of cones. So rods only tell us intensity of light, and then cones tell us color. And we have three different color sensitive cells. And some people have less, and we call them colorblind. There's actually people that have four, and they're called tetrachromes. But being a tetrachrome is not a major advantage because of our brains. Our brains are really wired to interpret three. So, for instance, you can let's look at the color orange. For instance, it's going to be right around here. Oh, here's orange. So when your brain gets a signal, orange is actually just the this amount of red and green, and your brain interprets the signal of these two intensities. So seeing this much intensity with red, this much with green, and none in the blue, your brain then interprets that as orange or yellow, just depending on the relative intensity of the signals. So that's how we perceive colors. So we're not spectrometers. We're just kind of our brains are just interpreting data coming in from these three things. And also rods are these operate under very low light conditions. So you might notice at night when you're walking around, there's not a lot of light. You cannot see color as well because you need more color intensity to activate your cones. And another thing I like to tell my students is, what's the difference between purple and violet? Can anyone looking at a color tell me, is this purple or is this violet? So for us as humans, we cannot tell a difference. Purple is blue and red together, and violet is light of 400 nanometers. So let's say you are given red light. So we'll give red light here at this wavelength, and then blue light at this wavelength. Our brain will interpret that stimulation of the rods and cones pretty much the same as at 4. You can see also green increases a little bit too. So our brains will interpret this color the same as, so if we look at blue and red light together and violet light, our brains will interpret it the same way. So that's just, we're humans and we're not spectrometers, right? So our brains have to work quickly too. And there's like, oh, okay, signal, we're going to push out that. We don't have a prism in our eyes that goes through and separates the colors and then analyzes them. I mean, well, I guess we don't have a prism, but we do have an analyzer, and it's just these three different light sensitive cells. Also, not in the article, dogs and cats, they have two. So we perceive color better. And then mantis shrimp, they have somewhere between 12 and 16 of these. So you think, man, mantis shrimp must be really, really good at telling colors. And the thing is, mantis shrimp have tiny brains. So, I mean, yeah, they have the amazing different cells, but their coloration is mostly used in their reproductive cycles. So So for us, though, us humans, in my own personal opinion, I think humans have the best sense of sight of the animal kingdom, and we rely very heavily on our vision. And so, well, you're like, whoa, man, and shrimp have many different types of cones. Like, well, then, but they also don't have the brain. We have the brain, right? So we have the occipital lobe of our brain right in the back of our heads that can interpret. That's very dedicated to interpreting the vision, or the visual input from our eyes, from our retinas. And then you might say, well, what about eagles? Eagles have really fine abilities to see things. They can see pinpoint better than we can. That's true, but also think tiny brain, right? Humans have big brains. Eagles have tiny brains, but and eagles use them. They use them for hunting. I mean, they're not looking at it as like, oh, look at that beautiful bunny rabbit down there. I can see it in such detail. They're like that's dinner. I'm gonna eat it. So, and that's me. For my opinion, I think looking at that humans have the best sense of sight in the animal kingdom. So, okay, so what does this article talk about? So if you see here the green, the middle one, the middle cones, the article calls the blue the short, the green the middle, and the red the long. So every single green color, these are activated. Like any color, any specific color you put in something, you will have the activation of of and the, well you we don't have any color that only targets the middle one, the green cones. So what this article is doing is they have someone looking they have a scanner that goes through and finds where only in the patient's eyes where only the green cones are, and then they specifically stimulate them. So it's just stimulating the green cones, and then suddenly the person will see a square of perception that is only from the green middle cones. And it is, I guess it's a wow moment. It's not, I can't show you a picture of it because you would have to be able to go to have your retinas scanned and then have it stimulated specifically. So I guess the color, it's a hue. So this hue that they get by specifically targeting the green color, they call it Olo. So this is the new color Olo. So that's kind of cool, right? You think, well, where is this? I mean, I can picture red, I can picture blue, right? But I mean, green. I think in my mind of green, but I mean, looking at this, what is green like that is only the green cones being stimulated, and under these specific circumstances they can do it, and they call it Olo. So that's kind of nice. So yeah, so and here we are, we're at the end of the semester. So hopefully you like this. I read this and I had to read it over a couple of times, and I was like, oh, that's cool. So, but we're at the end of the semester, and my in-laws are in town, of course, for the birth, and I've been talking to them, and I remember they're asking like, why did you want to be a chemist? Like, why was that? I'm like, well, why is exactly the answer. So I always want to know why the world behaves the way it does, and chemistry is a study of matter. So, and it's got its academic tentacles and everything, right? Because everything's made of matter, and there's so much history, so much politics, and also involved in chemistry, and understanding chemistry just is a big piece of the puzzle, explains why the world behaves the way it does. And I hope, I know this is just the intro class, and I know some of it's boring. I think it's boring too. I mean, the chemical accounting stuff, that's boring. Like the application. To me, it's the application, and also I always like the bonding and chemical reactions and seeing how chemical reactions work. Well, there's a lot of interesting things in chemistry, but that's kind of stuff that I did my research on as well. So, but I always think that stuff's really really cool, and the fact that there's always new things, right? I mean, so chemistry, there's just I know we're not very good at doing outreach, but there's so many new things, and things that are unexpected, like a new color that's only perceivable under very specific circumstances. So I kind of want to see if I can see this color now. I don't know when I'll get a chance, but it's kind of cool, right? So hopefully I've helped to stimulate some of your curiosity. I know the vast majority of you taking this class for a requirement, and I understand that. That's I mean, and by you should, because chemistry is so useful, right? And so hopefully leaving here you get a sense of that curiosity and wanting to know more and more about why the world behaves the way it does, and this is a big piece of the puzzle. So I hope you've enjoyed your class, and I hope your finals go well. I mean, it's a very stressful time, and I said last time, I reiterate, I mean, take care of yourselves, look after yourselves. It's okay to be a little selfish right now, so do what you can to stay sane, because it's a very stressful time. I still have nightmares that I'm in final exams. I mean, there's just something about final exams that just irk people, and and I'm it's been a long time since I've been a student, but I have taken classes for fun with my tuition waiver, but then I mean it's kind of a different experience for me, because I mean I'm just doing it because for out of pure pleasure and sense of wonder. I mean you're here because you want to get it. Most of you are here because you want to get a degree, so there's a little more of a high pressure stakes to it. So I understand, and I mean I remember acutely of the stress of that. So please do what you can to take care of yourself. And if something happens, at least in my class, don't sweat it. If don't freak out, because I know Pearson has got some issues sometimes. Don't sweat it. If something happens and something screws up, just write me and we'll sort it out. Okay, don't worry about that at all. Don't let that enter your memory, because I know last week Pearson crapped out, and that's it was unfortunate and it did, but I mean it all got figured out, and the same thing will happen again. So don't let that be a stressor for you. So I know again it's the end of the term, but if you need help, some people, when the stress comes, it comes in droves. If something's starting to happen, let me know. I will do what I can to help. And unfortunately, this is the last video this semester. I will be, of course, in contact a little more with the grades and whatnot. But this is a partial goodbye for now. And I hope you have, like I said, enjoyed the wonder and seen through some of the math and see the amazing part of chemistry where you get to study and understand why the world behaves the way it does. So, as with all my videos, I wish you well. Aloha.